You know, one of the guys I really like, he's a real conservative, and he carries the Reagan name the way, if I were related to him, I'd want the Reagan name to be carried. It's Michael Reagan. How are you, my brother?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. First, let's get the mess out of the way here. You've got Ron Jr., as I read on the air last Friday, basically saying that your dad had Alzheimer's, or the beginnings of it, while he was president in his second term, which is an outrageous smear. I worked with your dad. I worked in the administration. But you go ahead and address that.
Well, I mean, I was flying a plane and got off the plane and heard the statement from him out of his book, excerpt that was put out by his publisher. Then, in fact, Ron believed that our father had Alzheimer's while he was president of the United States. And had he been diagnosed in 1987 that he had Alzheimer's, my father would have just graciously stepped down as president of the United States of America. And I just was absolutely outraged by that, because it's, you know, I serve as the chairman of the John Douglas French Alzheimer's Foundation. I deal with this all the time. I don't play doctor. And, you know, you and I are aware there are people on the left, Bill Maher being one of them, who for years has tried to sell that Ronald Reagan, in fact, did have Alzheimer's disease, and have used that, you know, as basically a hammer to hammer my father's administration. And for one of his sons to come out in the book and address that he believed our father had it, to me just was outrageous, when there was absolutely no proof, no anything to back up his position. And so I came out very strongly and stated what I stated, that I thought he was, you know, his dad, he was an embarrassment to his father when his dad was president, and he was an embarrassment to his mother now. And, you know, I'm glad I did that, because now I see in the latest Drudge Report the fact that Ron has finally backed off of it and said he possibly made a mistake. Well, he made a huge mistake, and the publisher made a huge mistake by using that to try, in my way, they used Ron to try and sell a book. And Ron allowed himself to be in that position.
This is what I don't understand. Surely he had to know that this is what would be seized on. You know, he had to approve the excerpts that were being pushed out. He knew who he was trying to appeal to. And really, to trash your own father, and then on top of that, at this centennial celebration that the library's putting together, people celebrating his life and his works and everything else, to put out this book, the timing couldn't have been worse. He had to know what the hell he was doing, Mike. He's not an idiot.
Oh, yeah, I think he absolutely did, you know what he was in fact doing. And the publisher probably thought, wow, this is really great. This is going to be a great hook for the book. You know, one of his sons believes he had Alzheimer's. And you look at what Ronald Reagan accomplished in the last 4 years of the presidency, was unbelievable. What he was able to accomplish, you know, the Brandenburg Gate speech, the START treaties, Reykjavik, all the way through the system. He had such a phenomenal second half of his presidency, you know, if you will. And that's why there was no evidence out there to support, you know, Ron's position. And what's interesting is, and maybe this is the difference between liberals and conservatives, I have like 23 pages in the back of my book to support the positions I take in the book. Liberals seem to never have any pages to support their positions. Mm-hmm. It's just the way they feel.
Well, let me mention the name of the book.
Well, he felt that, in fact, it was going on, therefore it was.
Well, and we have doctor after doctor, doctors who treated him, doctors who knew him, doctors who were with him. Every damn one of them said no.
Yeah, and you would think that with the statement that he's making now, that he had this inkling that it's not like there was nobody he could go to and speak to and converse with to get some real information. I mean, as I said, I sit as the chairman of the John Douglas French Alzheimer's Foundation. Formerly, you know, the Art Linkletter was the chair of it, and he passed away, and so I am now the honorary chair. I've been on the board for years. There wasn't like, you know, people weren't hiding. They were there if you wanted to ask them a question. Our father has a wonderful legacy, and we cannot allow for the other two to carry it. You've got to pick up the mantle. And, Mark, that's one of the reasons I left radio in 2009. It just got to a point where I said, you know something, I've got to follow through with a promise I made to my sister. There's enough people doing talk radio today. You know what I'm doing with the foundation and things of that nature. And it really hit me this week that if I'm not there to make a statement, then Ron carries the legacy, that legacy. And what has it become? I mean, I love Ron to death and so on and so forth, but we're not on the same page, and he wasn't on the same page with his father.
You know, Mike, that's a really touching story. I'm going to tell you something. Ron Jr. owes the whole country an apology. There are people out there who adore Ronald Reagan, people out there who worked for him, people out there who campaigned for him, people out there who are now free as a result of his policies. And to just put together this smear and put it between pages and have the publisher push it out and all the libs going nuts, it's just, I think he owes the country an apology.